Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 1. Now let's start the fanfic. Torchlights dance in the shadows of the forest. The laughing of the mob mimics the calls a pack of hyenas make after a fresh kill. As if to mock their prey. Like the canines when they hunt a gazelle, satir the bloodthirsty mob after brutalizing this young boy. His name is Uzumaki Naruto. He has no family. No one to love him. No one to care for him. Just this night, he was thrown out of the orphanage that abused him all his life. He only knows his age because he learned he was born the night the fox demon attacked the village. That was 7 years ago. The small red-headed boy is barely breathing. He can feel blood in his lungs. He can't move. They left him in the forest for the beasts. He can feel them surrounding him as the mob leaves. He hears their growling. He sees their eyes that are filled with hunger. They close in on him. He closes his eyes as his consciousness leaves him. The last thing he remembers is hearing their call. The beasts. As Naruto awakens, he finds himself in a sewer. He feels something beckoning him to go further inside. He follows, the water sloshing with every footstep. He comes to a large open room. There are 2 figures in the middle of the massive room. The first figure is a beautiful woman with long black hair and what appears to be animal ears on top of her head. Naruto can tell she's easily the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. She has long legs and tan skin. She wears a skirt made of what seems to be animal skin and a top to cover her s made of the same material. She wears a necklace made of small bones. She has sharp red eyes and clawed hands and feet. The other figure in the room is a massive man that appears to be more beast than human. He sits on a massive throne made of bones from what appears to be monsters. He has a mane of long black hair. His large, powerful build is slightly covered in the fur and bones of some beast. His hands and feet are massive and clawed. He has similarly sharp eyes that are yellow instead of red. He's the first to speak. Is this the one who contains you, Kurumi? He asks, his voice deep and commanding. The woman nods. He is, my lord. He is my host. The humans call him a Jinchuriki, correct? He asks. Yes, my lord. She responds. He rises to his feet, a towering hulk of a man. Or beast. Naruto is afraid. He doesn't know either of these people and the man doesn't seem to be friendly. As he approaches Naruto, he stops in front of him, looking down on Naruto as a lion looks at an ant. He narrows his gaze at Naruto before speaking. I don't have much time here. And frankly, I don't even want to be here. Naruto shivers at the man's tone. Unfortunately, I don't have much of a choice. I was killed by that damned shadow monarch. Fortunately, my consciousness escaped, albeit only temporarily. I was brought here by Kurumi, the one your people call the Kyuubi no Yuko. Naruto's eyes widen at the revelation. The woman behind him is the one who attacked the village. Focus, brat. Damn it. Humans disgust me so much. Your kind stinks and are so brainless. I have half a mind to eat you and just fade into oblivion. He sighs. But as the beast monarch, it is my obligation to pass my mantle on. And as it seems you're dying as well, neither of us have much time. So I'll make this short. You'll become the new beast monarch. Kurumi here will be your guide and companion. Understand? Naruto is speechless. Literally. Quote. Huh. TCH. Stupid brat. The beast monarch says. He reaches down and grabs Naruto by his neck and lifts him up, his grip suffocating young Naruto. He grins sadistically. Just shut up, brat. Enjoy my power, disgusting human. Raising his free hand, he brandishes his claw. Naruto's eyes widen. He struggles slightly before the beast monarch plunges his claw into his abdomen. Naruto opens his mouth to scream but no sound comes out. The beast monarch suddenly begins to glow in a red light. The world around Naruto goes black and he loses consciousness. Outside of Naruto's mind, the beasts in the forest suddenly run away in fear. A powerful red beam of energy shoots out of Naruto's chest and into the sky. All of Konoha feel a sudden surge of crushing and oppressive power. Even the mighty Hokage, a man who has seen 2 wars, sweats at the oppressive energy. The 2 other elders who are in the room with him turn and look at Hiruzen. Hiruzen, is that? The woman asks. No, Kaharu. This isn't the same. It's different, stronger and heavier. Hiruzen answers. Those damned civilians. Did they cause the Kyuubi to be released? Homura shouts. You should have done more, Hiruzen. He should have been with Jiraiya and not here where these people want to kill him. Kaharu adds. Hiruzen grits his teeth. We don't know that this is Naruto's doing. Anbu. Spread out and search for Naruto. Take any civilians that are even acting remotely suspicious to Ibiki. Suddenly, the night air is split by a bloodthirsty, spine-chilling roar. The sound is so horrifying that all goes silent in the forest and in the village of Konoha. Hiruzen looks out the window towards the forest. What in Kami's name is that? He joins the search for Naruto. He and every Junin and Anbu searched for young Naruto that night. But the boy was nowhere to be found. 7 years after the disappearance of Naruto. Are you sure you want to do this, Weasel? The Hokage asks one of his masked Anbu. Yes, Hokage-sama. If this is meant to happen, then I will be the one to do so. The Hokage sighs in sadness. He feels as though something is wrong with the situation. Hell, to his own admission the whole situation is wrong. Remove your mask, Itachi. Hiruzen says. He does. Hiruzen sees the emotionless mask Itachi is wearing. Hiruzen narrows his eyes. What are your true feelings, Itachi? Don't hide it from me. Itachi grits his teeth and immediately begins to tear up. There's something wrong, Hokage-sama. It doesn't make sense for me to murder my entire family. There has to be another way. Itachi says. Hiruzen knew that, even if he was a highly trained Anbu, even he would succumb to emotions. He nods. I agree, Itachi-kun. You've already identified the conspirators, so it doesn't make sense to have to murder your entire family. Hiruzen sees the desperation in Itachi's eyes. He reaches down and picks up the list Itachi provided of the names of conspirators in the Uchiha family to overthrow the Hokage. Doing so would severely weaken the village, making them extremely vulnerable to outside forces and enemy villages. Hiruzen looks at Itachi. Do you plan to do it tonight? Itachi shakes his head. I still have some time before they act. I'd like to find out everything I can before going through with this, Hokage-sama. Maybe there's something else happening that I don't know about. Hiruzen nods. This isn't the type of action one would take on a whim. As Hiruzen reads the list, he fails to notice the squirrel outside his window. Little did he know that the squirrel was being manipulated by a much more powerful being. That being can be seen crouched on top of the Hokage monument. Naruto, now 14 years old, stands at a full height of 5 feet 11 inches tall. Extremely well-muscled but not a hulking menace like the previous beast monarch, he is very lean and athletically built. His claws are sharp enough to rend steel like butter and his teeth can crush stone. Beside him stands his loyal partner and lover, Kurumi. He processes the information relayed by the squirrel and turns to Kurumi, giving her a nod. The two disappear in a burst of speed. Naruto appears outside of a cave on the outskirts of Konoha. The cave has a genjutsu over it to disguise its true purpose. Naruto easily sees through it as no genjutsu affects him, even those cast by Kurumi who uses demonic illusions. He enters into the deep cave and comes to a massive door. The door appears to be protected by a powerful seal that can only be activated by certain people. Naruto smirks. Brandishing his claws, Naruto grabs the door, his claws digging deep into the metal and twisting and warping the steel construct. With an explosion of raw, otherworldly strength, Naruto tears the door open like he's ripping a piece of paper. The sound alerts the inhabitants, and several root members confront the intruder. As they appear, Naruto cracks a very sinister grin. The root Anbu attack in a group. They draw the ninjutsu and slash at Naruto, only for their swords to bounce off of Naruto's body. Naruto chuckles as they pause to look at him. My turn. He grabs two of the root members by their faces, crushing their skulls in his bare hands. He then tosses them against the facility walls, making a sickening squelch noise. Another member attacks Naruto, who simply catches their sword without looking at them. He crushes the blade, grabs them by the neck and tears off their mask. Naruto then takes his other hand and grabs the top of their head. He opens his mouth wide and sees the look of terror on the Root Anbu's face as he sees the sharp teeth that line Naruto's mouth. Naruto then bites down on his face, muffled screams and blood-curdling shrieks following. He then tears off his face, chewing and swallowing. The man falls to the ground, twitching grotesquely before going limp. Root Anbu are supposed to be emotionless. But Naruto just put the fear back in them. Deep inside the base, Danzo can hear the butchering of his agents as well as their screams. He's terrified. Before long, Danzo comes face to face with Naruto. He meets the terrifying beast monarch in one of the corridors. All of his root agents have been dismembered, torn limb from limb, some eaten, none recognizable. Danzo speaks. Who are? Naruto interrupts him and grabs his face, lifting him into the air. Naruto moved so quickly that Danzo was incapable of seeing his movements. He then grabs Danzo's right arm. I know about your little secret, weak man. I can see the chakra flowing inside you. Not gonna help this time. He tears off Danzo's right arm, revealing an appendage full of Sharingan eyes. He slams Danzo's head into the wall behind him and stabs a finger into the bandages. He pulls out the eye, revealing another Sharingan, a Mangekyo. He throws it to the ground. Naruto then says, "You tried so many times to get the old man to give me to you. You even tried to kill him. You claim to be supporting these people from the shadows, yet your actions only hurt the shinobi clans of Konoha. You sicken me, mortal. And now, you even have a hand in destroying one of these clans." Naruto chuckles. No, not this time. Danzo goes to speak but Naruto bites his face. Tearing his head off, he drops the lifeless form of Danzo to the ground. He then goes to study what files Danzo kept hidden from the Hokage. His findings disgust Naruto. Reaching the mouth of the cave, Naruto destroys the genjutsu and flares his power, signaling the Hokage and the Anbu to come and find this place. Naruto then disappears before anyone can find him. The Hokage arrives accompanied by Itachi, hopeful that he may have found Naruto. His Anbu arrive with him. What they find instead is the opening of a cave. The Hokage motions for them to follow him. Inside they find what appears to be a door torn open by some kind of monster. Hiruzen has a feeling he knows what this is. This must be the entrance to Danzo's root base. Walking inside, they find a scene that makes even the Hokage, a veteran of 2 shinobi wars, sick to his stomach. He covers his mouth and nose and turns away momentarily. Bodies with their faces apparently bitten off, bodies with limbs torn off, bodies completely torn in half, limbs scattered everywhere, claw marks on torn flesh, blood on the floors and walls, organs and eyeballs, burn marks and displaced earth, signs of a shinobi battle. The Anbu grimace at the scene. Hokage-sama, it looks as though they were killed by beasts. Itachi says. Hiruzen nods. The carnage was not easy to stomach. He can even see that Itachi is slightly unnerved. The Hokage pauses as do the Anbu and Itachi. They see the decapitated head and body of Danzo with the Sharingan arm and the Mangekyo eye nearby. Itachi grits his teeth and flashes his Sharingan. Calm yourself, Itachi. Let's inspect this place carefully. Hiruzen says. The Anbu spread out, going through the files in the root base. Their findings enrage Hiruzen. He discovers evidence that prove he was partially responsible for the destruction of Uzushiogakure, had dealings with Hanzo the Salamander, and cooperated with Orochimaru. Danzo was guilty of multiple counts of treason, many of which could have resulted in the fall of Konoha. The worst piece of evidence that Itachi found was the instigation of a coup with the Uchiha clan. Danzo planned to betray the clan and in the aftermath of the massacre, steal their eyes for himself. This enraged Itachi. Danzo even orchestrated Itachi's orders to slaughter his family, although he planned to leave his little brother, Sasuke, alive. Itachi. He turns and looks at Hiruzen. We have all the evidence we need. I want to meet with Fugaku, as he and the Uchiha elders are the primary antagonists in this situation. I want to try to mend things between the Uchiha clan and the village. It sickens me that we were all manipulated by Danzo. Itachi nods. But another question arose in Itachi's head. Hokage-sama, while the information we found here can help preserve our village for much longer, who could have done this? And without alerting us until after they've left, as well. This question resonated with Hiruzen as well. Whoever it was is extremely powerful, frighteningly so. If they easily killed the dozens of Root Anbu here, overwhelmed Danzo and disabled his Sharingan effortlessly, they were most definitely more powerful than Hiruzen himself is. But Hiruzen is at a loss of who it could be. I have no idea, Itachi. But whoever it is did us a favor. By killing Danzo and eliminating his root, they've taken care of a threat that existed within our very own walls. I just hope they aren't our enemy. Kami, help us if that ever changes. In the following days, Hiruzen met with Uchiha Fugaku, the intended leader of the rebellion. Presenting the information retrieved from Danzo's facility, he diffused the situation. The Uchiha clan was being manipulated and the eyes of their deceased were being harvested by Danzo for his use. He explained that it was never his intention to control the Uchiha clan or weaken their power or influence. If they wanted to relocate to their original location, they were free to do so whenever they wished. Fugaku understood and fully agreed that his clan was manipulated by Danzo. Considering the consequences, a coup would have likely resulted in the destruction of the Uchiha clan anyways, one way or another, whether from the resulting civil war or the rival hidden villages attacking the weakened Konoha. The differences between Hiruzen and the Uchihas were settled and Fugaku went and explained the situation to his clan. Itachi was eternally grateful to whoever helped save his clan. He began to open up more to his parents and brother. He apologized for being so cold and distant. He helped train his brother and spent more time with his mother and father. Itachi made a vow that if he ever found who prevented him from killing his clan, he would thank them any way he can. 2 years later, the Forest of Death, an infamous part of Konoha where even the bravest and most steadfast Junin avoid. Only one person ever comes here regularly. Her name is Mitarashi Anko. She comes here to get away from the villagers who hate her. Not because of who she is but because of what she had no control over. Anko is the former apprentice of Orochimaru of the Sannin. When he betrayed the village, he abandoned her and branded her with his curse mark. She is now a village pariah, much like Naruto was. When Anko learned of Naruto's burden and what he had to experience, it made her dislike for the villagers turn to hatred. When it became knowledge that the civilians left Naruto in the Forest of Death, it almost brought the village to civil war. Anko distanced herself even further from the village. As Anko lands on a tree branch, she decides to take a break and rest. The Forest of Death to her is a comfortable and peaceful place. She decides to relax, until she senses a presence approaching. She turns and sees a large white tiger stalking her. She summons a sword from a seal on her wrist and smirks. Anko's pastime in here is killing beasts. The tiger lunges and Anko expertly dodges. She leaps back in and delivers several slashes to the tiger. The tiger jumps away but staggers. Anko knows that the poison her sword passively secretes is working. Suddenly, Anko hears the shrubbery giving way and turns to see another tiger lunge from her side. She blocks the oncoming bite with her forearm, screaming in pain as the tiger bites through bone, almost taking her arm completely off before she stabs it with her sword. Anko stands staring at the other tiger, panting heavily as her arm limply dangles, bleeding heavily. In the clearing she stands in, she stares down the tiger opposite to her. Until to each of her sides, she sees more tigers make themselves known, entering the clearing. 2 to her right and 1 to her left. Anko's eyes widen in horror. What the? Tigers don't hunt in packs. The beasts circle her. Anko is panicking. She's injured, bleeding heavily, and can't take them all on. Her only option is to make a run for it. But she's injured and unable to move as fast. Any sudden movements and the tigers will likely attack. Shit. Am I going to die here? Suddenly, one of the tigers lunge. Anko closes her eyes, waiting for the end. The tiger almost reaches her, but out of nowhere, a red blur intercepts the massive beast, hitting it and sending it flying into a tree. Another figure, with long black hair, leaps onto another tiger, claws rending flesh. Anko opens her eyes to see the carnage. The figure with red hair leaps at the tiger he sent into a tree and pins it to the ground. He then proceeds to rip its head off with his bare hand. He stands up and turns around. Anko blushes at this kami of a man. Long red hair that reaches down his black, wild and untamed. Perfectly tanned skin. Piercing yellow eyes with black slits. He's tall, easily about 6 feet 4 inches. He's muscular but not hulking. He has very defined muscles with athletic proportions. Anko blushes at his attire. His back is covered by the skin of a white tiger, its head serving as a pauldron for his left shoulder. He wears a pelt that seems to be from a boar to cover up his pelvic region. It's secured by a belt that seems to be made from the bones of many animals. His wrists and ankles seem to be covered by the fur and bones of a bear. The two figures stare down the two remaining tigers. They each are poised and ready to attack the tigers or circling in opposite directs so the other two do the same. All four lunge at the same time. The woman bares her teeth and claws, catching the tiger, and the two crash in the ground. The woman wrestles to the dominant position first. She opens her mouth and bites down through the tiger's spinal cord. The man's kill was much more brutal. He caught the tiger's mouth in midair and wrestled him to the ground. Gripping the tiger's upper and lower mouth, he snapped the tiger's jaw and brutally slammed its head into the ground. He then smashed its skull with a punch that left a crater in the ground. The two figures look at each other and nod. The man then approaches Anko, who is looking worse for wear. She's sweating and panting. He wonders why. Sure, her arm was shattered and she was bleeding a lot, but she looks like she's dying. Then he sees the mark on her shoulder. He can sense the malevolence coming from it. He turns to the woman. My name is Naruto. That mark on your shoulder seems to be killing you. I can remove it, but it will cost you. Will you accept? Anko's eyes widen. She immediately nods, which makes him smirk. He opens his mouth, revealing a terrifying maw of sharp teeth. He bites down on her shoulder over the mark. She feels a burning sensation followed by pain. She screams before passing out. Naruto releases her and smirks. Turning to Kurumi, he says, looks like we have our first ally, Kurumi. A beautiful one, too. Kurumi approaches Naruto and lays her head on his shoulder. Naruto gropes her rear, making her moan slightly. Now all we do is wait. When Anko comes to, she's disoriented. Every noise is loud, every smell is strong, everything is bright and clear. Her mouth is dry and she moves her tongue around in her mouth. Her eyes widen. She notices that her teeth are sharp. Like a predator. She looks around and notices that Naruto and the woman are sitting on a rock, the woman resting her head on Naruto's chest while Naruto runs his claws through her hair. He smiles at Anko. How do you like your new gifts? He asks. Anko shudders at his voice. Powerful and commanding. Anko fights something in her instincts that are screaming, Alpha, at her. She musters up the courage and walks over to him. What did you do to me? She asks. Naruto smirks. I saved you and changed you. You're now much stronger, but in exchange you belong to me. Anko's eyes widen and then narrow. What do you mean I belong to you? Naruto answers, simple. You're my mate. You gain a portion of my abilities but not enough to challenge me for dominance. And that curse mark on your shoulder is gone too. When you were injured it began to try to take you over. Nasty little bastard. Anko then feels around to try to find it but can't. She only feels a different mark, one that isn't evil or hot to the touch. What is this mark? She asks. That's my mate mark. He says. Anko nods and approaches him. She grabs his face and gives him a hot, passionate kiss. She pulls back and smiles. Thank you, handsome. My name is Anko, by the way. You saved me. Twice. You saved my life first and then you gave me my life back. I'd be happy to be your mate. She then sits on his lap and leans her head against his chest. Kurumi smiles kindly but gives off a territorial vibe to Anko, who returns it. The two glare holes into each other's eyes. Now girls, you're going to have to share. No fighting over me. I have plenty to go around. But I'm surprised, you're taking this quite well for someone who just met me, Anko-chan. Anko smiles. I'm not used to kindness or compassion. I'm one of the village pariahs. If news got out the Konohas, Snake Whore, died in the forest of death, they'd celebrate. You'd understand, right Naruto-kun? You're the other one who died in the forest of death. What happened that night? Naruto grimaces. He then proceeds to recount the night he became the Beast Monarch. He also told her of his training in the forest of death and also how he's been secretly watching the village destroy itself. He knows of the rift between the civilian population and the shinobi population. He also knows how after the Hokage abolished the civilian council for corruption, it caused an uproar which compounded the tension between the civilians and the shinobi families. Naruto is also aware of how the shinobi families loved Naruto and helped him when they could. He used his control of woodland creatures to spy and learn many of Konoha's secrets. He found that the shinobi families cared for him. Many tried to adopt him, only to be denied somehow by the corrupted civilian council. Even the Uchiha clan, who Naruto saved 2 years ago, had once helped him. Well, not all of them but an Uchiha woman. When Naruto was 5 years old he found his way near the Uchiha district being chased by another bloodthirsty mob. The one who came to his rescue was a raven-haired woman with black eyes. She was very beautiful to Naruto's memory. Seeing her, the villagers recognized who she was and left Naruto alone. She turned and helped Naruto up, taking him back to the Uchiha compound. She nursed his wounds, let him take a bath, fed him, and gave him food for later. The woman's name was Uchiha Makoto. She was one of the people he would do anything to save, hence why he interfered the way he did. By saving the Uchiha clan, he saved Makoto. Anko looks up at Naruto and asks him a question. What do you plan to do now, Naruto-kun? Naruto chuckles. Now, I plan to return to that accursed village. The humans are weak but I'll never forget what some of them have done for me. I'll save the ones I care about and destroy the rest of the village. Afterwards, I'll rebuild the village that once was home to my clan. I'll rebuild the Uzumaki clan into an empire. Anko smiles and nods. As long as I'm there with you, Naruto-kun. I'll go wherever you go. Naruto smiles and kisses Anko's forehead. Anko then realizes something and asks Naruto a question that's been bugging her. Naruto-kun, how did you come across all this information? Naruto chuckles. I can communicate with beasts and animals. I'm the beast monarch, so it's just a matter of my natural affinity. Beasts and animals are an inconspicuous way of information gathering. Who would suspect birds or rodents of spying on them? Anko chuckles and kisses Naruto's cheek. The trio get to their feet and head towards Konoha. It's time to pay the old man a visit. Anko then brings up a good point first. Naruto-kun, I think you should wear something else at least. You'll attract quite a bit of unnecessary attention with that clothing. Naruto considers for a moment and then nods. Yeah, you're right Anko-chan. But where can I get clothes from? Anko then tells Kurumi and Naruto that she'll go buy some clothes for them. When she returned, Kurumi got dressed in a black kunoichi outfit. The top is a black sleeveless form-fitting crop top that exposes her midriff with black form-fitting shorts. Naruto, on the other hand, dreaded getting dressed. He wore black Anbu-style pants with black sandals. Instead of a shirt, Naruto simply donned a black trench coat. To their own admission, Naruto looked downright sexy. He refused to take off his necklace though. After getting dressed, the trio headed out of the forest and towards the Hokage Tower. On their way to the Hokage Tower, Naruto attracted the gazes of many people. His long, fiery red untamed mane, tanned skin, and dominating appearance caused a crisis for many women's panties. Kurumi caused similar issues as well, having hanged her ears. She was extremely beautiful. Her tanned skin and long womanly legs coupled with her excellent proportions became the desire of the male villagers and the envy of the women. How ironic that the two people they are drooling over are the fearsome nine-tailed fox and the vessel that they hated so much. They can still feel the glares that Anko was receiving, but Naruto and Kurumi pay the ignorant villagers no attention since Anko didn't care. They enter the Hokage tower and head to the front desk. Coming to the receptionist, they tell her that they are here to see the Hokage. She blushes at the sight of Naruto but lets them go ahead in, scowling at Anko when she walks by. Naruto knocks on the door to the Hokage's office. Hearing, "Enter," he walks in followed by Kurumi and Anko. The Hokage's eyes widen at Naruto, not recognizing him but feeling the power rolling off of him. Naruto speaks up. "Hey, old man, we need to talk." Hiruzen narrows his eyes at the man's tone. "Young man, you're obviously very powerful, but I am the Hokage of this village." "I will not." Hiruzen freezes and pales. Naruto releases a killing intent at Hiruzen that causes him to see death flashes. The killing intent is so strong and concentrated that the Anbu guards are choking and struggling in the ceiling above. "Calm down, old man. I'm not here to hurt you, but I won't have you talking down to me. Are we clear?" Hiruzen nods hesitantly. Naruto sighs, reeling in his killing intent. He notices the Anbu ready to go on the offensive. "If you insects up there try to attack me, I'll paint this room with your innards." His threat gives them pause. They can tell he's powerful enough to pull that threat off. Anko decides to step forward. All right, you all need to chill, okay? Calm down, old man, he's not an enemy. You too, Yu-chan. Don't hold it against him. He's just a bit of an animal. I prefer beast, Anko-chan. Naruto retorts, cracking a grin. Semantics, babe. Anko responds winking. Hiruzen is confused by Anko's words. You're acquainted with him, Anko. Anko smiles and nods. More than that, I love him. She chimes, embracing one of his arms. Hiruzen's eyes widen. Anko was notorious for her violent nature towards men. She was very distrustful towards men and cruelly punished any man that made derogatory remarks towards her. Hiruzen sighs. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. May I know your name at least? Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. He answers with a smirk. Hiruzen's eyes widen and he rushes over to Naruto, checking to make sure he is real. Naruto. It's really you, Naruto. Naruto nods. Hiruzen falls into tears. I'm sorry, Naruto. I failed you. I should have protected you, should have forced Jiraiya to take you out of the village. I blamed myself for your death all these years, Naruto. I'm so sorry. Naruto smiles. It isn't your fault, old man. I don't blame you or any of the shinobi clans. I know how much they all cared and understood who I am. I know they all knew who my parents were, as it was a shinobi matter. And I know how much they each tried to help me. I have no hatred for them. The ones at fault are the civilians. Hiruzen nods in agreement. The civilians are blinded by their own hatred. Naruto proceeds to tell him the story of how he became the Beast Monarch, recounting the night civilians left him for dead in the Forest of Death. He told him how when he became the Beast Monarch, Kurumi's soul separated from his own. He explained that Kurumi attacked Konoha because she was controlled by a Mangekyo user, although she would be immune to that now after gaining Naruto's power through the mate mark. Naruto then explained his training, although he left out his ability to communicate with and control animals. He explained that he decided it was time for him to get reintegrated into Konoha, an obvious lie, and that he intended to become a shinobi. Hiruzen could obviously tell there was some ulterior motive but decided to let it pass, as he was nowhere near strong enough to challenge Naruto. He'll try to use this to get to know Naruto better, which Naruto could obviously see was his intention. There was no malevolence on either side, just ample curiosity on Hiruzen's part. Hiruzen handed Naruto a scroll and told him to head to the academy and hand the scroll to the Chunin instructor, Iruka, and he'll settle Naruto in. Naruto nods and turns to leave until Hiruzen gets his attention. Naruto, he says, causing Naruto to turn around. I can't apologize enough for what you had to suffer through. If there is anything you ever need, just come to me. My door is always open for you or your mates. And here, he removes the picture of the fourth Hokage and unseals an envelope and 2 keys. The envelope was the deed to Naruto's inheritance. The keys belong to the Uzumaki and Namikaze compounds. He hands them to Naruto. These belong to you, Naruto. Take them and to hell with what the civilians say. Naruto smiles and nods at the old man. He was an incompetent old fool at times, but Naruto knew he had a kind heart and always had the best of intentions. Naruto leaves the Hokage Tower, and as they are walking, Enko asks him a question. Why do you plan on being a shinobi for this village, Naruto-kun? Shouldn't we just burn it to the ground and go somewhere else? Naruto chuckles. We could do that, Enko-chan, sure. But that would mean killing everyone in the village. And I still have people I care about in this village. Plus, I'm sure you still have friends, don't you? Enko nods. She thinks of her close friends, Yuhi Kurenai, Azuki Yugo, and Inuzuka Hana. They are like sisters to her and she definitely wants to save them. Naruto notices her expression and smiles. See, not everyone here treated you poorly either, am I right? Enko nods. That's exactly why we'll take our time. And once we've gathered everyone worth sparing, we'll butcher the rest and head for Uzushiogakure. I'll have to have the village rebuilt first, of course. As of now, it's in ruins. But our clan shall rise again. And this village will burn for its ignorance. Enko smiles, hugs Naruto's arm. Kurumi smiles and lays her head on his shoulder. After walking a distance away from the Hokage Tower, Naruto instructs Enko and Kurumi to head to the Uzumaki compound and settle in. He'll head to the academy and see what that's all about. He gives his 2 lovers a kiss and heads to the Konoha Shinobi Academy. As he walks in the classroom, everyone stares at the imposing form of Naruto. At 6 feet 4 inches, he's the tallest in the class. Well built, tan skin unique to the village, and a fiery red untamed mane that goes the length of his back, he is an impressive figure that intimidates the boys and captures the heart of the girls in the classroom. In the corner of the room, he sees the figure of a dark-haired boy with hair similarly shaped to the rear end of some of his spies. The feathery ones. He smirks discreetly. His chakra reminds me of Makoto's. Is he her son? Makoto had told Naruto that day about both of her sons and that he was the age of her youngest. He must be the one she mentioned. Naruto turns to Iruka and reaches into his trench coat. Pulling out a scroll, he walks over and hands it to Iruka. Iruka reads the contents and nods. He says, I see. Welcome to the class, Naruto. Please take a seat. Naruto nods. He understands that the people here may not recognize him. Their parents must have hid his existence and Iruka may have only known him by demon brat, and the like. He doesn't blame them. As he takes his seat beside a dark-haired girl with pale violet eyes, he senses hostile intent behind him. He must be Sume's problem child, Kiba. The animals have been telling me how short-tempered and arrogant he is. This will be entertaining. Kiba taps Naruto's shoulder. Hey, why'd you take the seat next to my girl, huh? Naruto chuckles as he sees the girl flinch. He sees that the girl doesn't have any sort of romantic feelings for Kiba. He turns to her and says, My name is Naruto. What's your name, miss? The girl blushes but answers. My name is Hi Hinata. Nice to meet you, Naruto-kun. Naruto nods. I see. Are you involved with the dog behind me? Kiba grits his teeth at the insult. Oi, he jumps to his feet. Hinata shakes her head. Naruto sighs as Kiba throws a punch at him. He stops Kiba in his tracks by casting his telekinesis on him. Naruto launches Kiba to the back of the room, pinning him to the wall and leaving a crater. The class goes wide-eyed at the display of power. Even Iruka is speechless. Naruto simply gets up and walks to him. Kiba struggles but is powerless at the unseen force Naruto is using to immobilize him. Naruto stops in front of him. Looking at him and exuding killing intent potent enough to cause him to relieve himself in his pants, Naruto smirks. Naruto grabs Kiba's face and in a voice cold enough to freeze water, he says, "Now listen here, mutt. I'm not in the mood to play games with you. I won't hesitate to rip your head off, understood? But you're ignorant, so I'll give you a chance. Don't with me. You are not the alpha. I am. So don't try challenging me. You'll die." After Naruto makes his point, he releases his telekinesis, letting Kiba drop to the floor. He gets up and runs out of the class and back home. The class stares at Naruto as he goes back and takes his seat. Iruka, remembering the contents of the scroll, simply continues on with the class. As Naruto sits, Hinata glances quickly at Naruto and looks away, blushing. Thank you, Naruto. I didn't do that for you, Hinata. He was just annoying. If he bothers you again, you'll need to take care of it yourself. Show him your own strength, otherwise he'll just keep going. I wouldn't put it past him to try to rape you. Hinata's eyes widen at Naruto's words. If you don't want that to happen, get strong enough to stop it. You won't make it as a kunoichi if you keep going like this. Hinata looks down. She's always known that she was timid and weak, but for someone to say it the way he has. Hinata wasn't going to let that happen. She clenches her fists, a new determination in her heart. Naruto smirks, happy his words resonated with her. After Naruto nearly died of boredom during his first day at the academy, Naruto decides to head to the Uzumaki compound to check out his new living space. He was astounded when he first laid eyes on the place. It was enormous, 2 stories high that extended outwards greatly. Naruto estimated it to be at least 12,000 square per foot. A beautiful garden complete with its own training ground and a private waterfall and lake on the property. It's surrounded by trees and forested area. It gave Naruto a very good home feeling. When he walks in, he finds his 2 beloved mates waiting for him on a sofa in one of the sitting rooms. He grins, showing off his fangs. "You 2 weren't waiting on me, were you?" he says playfully. Kurumi and Anko smile and walk over to Naruto, both kissing him passionately and exploring his powerful muscles with their hands. Naruto wraps his arms around their waists. He lifts them both in his arms and says, "Let's christen this place, shall we?" Naruto leads his lovers upstairs. Naruto and his lovers enjoyed an evening of passionate lovemaking. After several hours of hot sweaty with his 2 lovers, Naruto senses a presence appear at his door. He walks to the entrance as he hears a knock on the door. Opening it, he reveals a purple-haired Anbu with a cat mask. She stumbles backwards a bit at the sight of Naruto. She doesn't say anything for a moment. "Is something the matter?" he asks. The Hokage requires your presence," she stutters out, averting her eyes. Naruto smirks. "Are you sure you don't want to take a few more glances?" "I don't mind," he teases. He puts some clothes on. She shouts before shining away. Naruto laughs before heading upstairs. He gets dressed and kisses his lovers, telling him he'll return shortly. He slashes a space in the bedroom, opening a gate in the form of a claw mark. Stepping inside, he appears in front of the Hokage's desk, shocking the old man and causing his Anbu guards to jump on the offensive. "Stop!" the Hokage shouts. The Anbu halt their attack. The Hokage stands. "Welcome, Naruto. We have business with the council." Naruto nods as the Hokage leads him to the council chambers. As soon as Naruto makes his appearance, the council members burst out in murmurs and whispers. Naruto looks around the room and notices Makoto in the Uchiha clan seat. He immediately smiles at her. She blushes, causing him to mentally chuckle. He also notices Inuzuka Sume and she returns his gaze. He winks at her, causing her to crack a feral grin. Naruto is amused. Inuzuka Sume, She's a good woman as well. I wouldn't mind claiming her as my own. Naruto gazes around the room and notices the presence of some unsavory figures. He turns to the Hokage. I thought you disbanded the civilian council. Hiruzen nods. I did, but I reformed them to quell the civilian unrest. I wanted to prevent a civil war. Naruto sighs. So what's this about, old man? The Hokage steps forward. This council meeting is now in session. The Hokage declares. The council ceases their murmuring. One civilian councilman asks, what was this meeting called for, Hokage-sama? I called this meeting to announce the return of an important figure to this village as well as the reform of a powerful clan that was lost to the annals of time. Nara Shikaku speaks up. And who is he, Hokage-sama? Gesturing to Naruto, he answers. This is Uzumaki Naruto. After being left in the forest of death for 9 years, he has returned and will now claim his birthright. The Shinobi Council bursts out in happy murmurings while the civilian council is outraged. Impossible. That demon was killed. He deserves to die. Execute him right this minute. The Shinobi Council glare at the councilmen who shout those statements but are stunned by what happens next. The Hokage sighs, knowing what was going to happen. Naruto disappears from beside Hiruzen and appears behind one of the councilmen. He drives a hand through his chest and then grabs his face, tearing his head clean off. He then appears beside the other councilman and grabs him by his throat, lifting him out of his seat. Naruto opens his mouth, revealing his sharp fangs. He lets out a spine-chilling roar before biting the man's face off. He then throws his faceless body on the table, letting the others witness his twitching before going completely limp. Naruto chews a bit before spitting out the parts he doesn't want. He then calmly walks down to Hiruzen's side. Hiruzen hands him a cloth to wipe his face and hands with. Sume smirks at the display. That was hot. If anyone else has anything disrespectful to say about me, say it. Just know that you'll suffer the same fate. The civilian council goes completely silent, making the shinobi side smirk. Naruto then turns to the shinobi side. I'm happy to see each of you once again. I know how much you all have tried to help me over the short time I was in the village. Most of you tried to adopt me, but every clan present helped me. It's this damned civilian council and their misguided views that made my life hell. As much as I wish to slaughter all of you, I won't unless given a reason to. He glares at the civilian council as do the shinobi side. One civilian grows courageous. But that's the Kyuubi incarnate. We must kill it before she doesn't get the chance to finish before the cat-masked Anbu from earlier beheads her. The Hokage speaks up, as he was the one who ordered the council member to be executed. I will not tolerate any disrespect towards Naruto. Any who call for his death from here on out shall be executed. The council members gulp in fear. The shinobi side chuckle at their despair. The Hokage turns his attention back to the shinobi side. Continuing on, Naruto will be claiming his inheritance. Being that he is the child of Uzumaki Kushina and Lord Fouth, Namikaze Minato, he will also be taking the council seat as the head of both clans. Impossible. How dare you spread those lies about our hero, Lord Forth? That monster is not. Two claws tear through his chest cavity, lifting him up from his seat. Naruto proceeds to bisect him down the middle with his bare hands, causing many of the remaining civilian council members to vomit or faint. Even the shinobi side is a bit disturbed by his creativity. Inoichi speaks up. Lord Hokage, if I may ask, what has Naruto been doing these past 9 years? It's obvious that he is very powerful at the moment, so have you made him a Junin? The Hokage shakes his head. No, Naruto is a genin as of this moment. He expressed his desire to be closer to others his age since he was deprived of that chance by some ignorant fools who couldn't see that he and the Kyuubi were two different beings. The shinobi council glare at the civilians for this. The shinobi clans have began harboring a disdain for the civilians and their ignorance. First was their treatment of Mitarashi Anko, a very likable yet eccentric person. None of the shinobi clans harbored any ill will towards her. All the hatred she received was from the civilians. And next was Naruto. The shinobi clans understood his burden as a Jinchuriki. They did all they could to help him since he carried such a heavy responsibility by containing a powerful chakra being inside of him. Yet all their efforts to assist Naruto were somehow blocked by the council thanks in part to Danzo. Danzo wanted to use the boy as a weapon, and by allowing the civilians to continue their abuse of the boy, it increased his chances of getting his hands on him. The rift between the shinobi clans and the civilians grows steadily each passing day. Something Naruto could sense. As for the second part of your question, only Naruto could answer that question. Hiruzen leaves the floor to Naruto. Naruto steps forward. For the past 9 years, I was in the Forest of Death. As horrific as the Forest of Death is, it was actually much safer for me there, ironically. I learned many things there. How to hunt, how to survive, how to use chakra. I even adapted more bestial qualities such as claws and fangs, enhanced senses sharper than those of a ninkin, bestial strength and speed, an extremely tough body, powerful healing, and the ability to communicate with animals. The last part grabbed the attention of Sume. You can communicate with all animals, she shouts. Naruto nods. Shikaku asks a question. Are these traits hereditary? Hiruzen speaks up, to the surprise of Naruto. Yes, they are. I already had a test done when he told me about his new abilities. Naruto narrows his eyes at the old man. He never had a test done but understands what he's doing. He sighs. Shikaku nods. Then I propose that Naruto enters into the CRA. From what we know, even if his abilities are similar to the Inuzuka clan, bloodlines are an extremely valuable asset to the village. The Nara clan will support Naruto and his clan in any way he needs. The Hyuga clan will also support Naruto and his clan. The Uchiha clan will also support Naruto and his clan. The Yamanaka clan will also support Naruto and his clan. The Akamichi clan will also support Naruto and his clan. The Inuzuka clan will also support Naruto and his clan. The Hokage also speaks up. The Sarutobi clan will also support Naruto and his clan. Naruto looks around the room at the people who openly voiced their support of him and his clan. He chuckled, knowing he was right to come back for these clans. Thank you all. The Uzumaki Namikaze clan will support each and every one of your clans in return for your support. The clan heads smile at Naruto, genuinely happy to see him back again. Hiruzen speaks up. That is all for today's meeting. Dismissed. Anbu. Find someone to clean up the mess as well. Time skip 4 months. Naruto felt relatively annoyed the past 4 months. He realized that the Hokage, though he was doing him a favor by pulling the strings and manipulating the academy scores. Apparently, the old man thought it would please Naruto by automatically making him the Rookie of the Year. Seriously, he didn't even do anything and he scored full marks in each class. Again, this annoyed Naruto greatly. So, without much effort, Naruto became a genin. Hooray! No bastards tampering with the scores. Oh wait, they did tamper with the scores. So here Naruto is, a pissed off beast monarch ready to rip someone's throat out. At least a couple of things went right for him over the past 4 months. Kiba stopped trying to challenge him for one thing. And another thing was that when he went to try to harass Hinata about a month ago, the once timid pale-eyed girl beat him like he owed her money. That was a surprise. He smirked. The girl obviously had feelings for Naruto and he knew that. Now as for if he is going to act on them. Well, he admits that for a 16-year-old girl, she was hot. Then again, so was that Ino girl. Even though he himself was 16, he preferred older women. Yeah, like Makoto or that idiot Kiba's mother, Sume. But he might be willing to give those two a chance. The door to the classroom opens and Iruka walks in, snapping Naruto out of his thoughts. He clears his throat. First off, I'd like to congratulate you all on becoming genin. Now it's time to announce the team placements for this year's graduates. Team 1. Team 7 will be Hyuga Hinata, Uchiha Sasuke, and Uzumaki Naruto. Team 8 will be Haruno Sakura, Inazuka Kiba, and Aburame Shino. Team 9 is still currently in circulation. Team 10 will be Yamanaka Ino, Akamichi Choji, and Nara Shikamaru. Good luck. Iruka walks out the classroom. Deciding to give his teammates a chance, he strikes up a conversation. So why don't we all get to know each other better, Hinata and Sasuke turn to him. Hinata decides to go first. Anyo. I'm honestly not sure I'll make a good kunoichi. Even though you motivated me to get better, Naruto-kun, I'm still not sure. I don't like fighting or hurting people. I enjoy flower pressing and tea ceremonies. I may be a nervous wreck, but I promise I'll carry my own weight. Naruto smiles at her. Even if he's a bloodthirsty beast monarch, he can appreciate a good woman when he sees one. Hinata is a good woman. He turns to Sasuke. How about you, Uchiha? Sasuke hesitates for a moment. Well, there's not much to say. I like training and spending time with my family. I also like hanging out with my friends and relaxing. My dream is to be a better shinobi than my brother. I also want to have a nice family of my own. Naruto smiles again. He wonders if Sasuke would have turned out to be this good of a guy if Itachi did end up killing off the Uchihas. What kind of would he be if he let that happen? Like honestly, what kind of makes a guy like Itachi murder his family? Naruto chuckles. Well, I guess it's my turn. I like nature and animals. I love fighting and I'm always looking for someone to give me a workout. I also like spending time with my lovers and making love to them. I wouldn't mind having a large family and a lot of kids. But my true goal is to restore the home of my family and pay back some old debts. Hinata and Sasuke look at Naruto in astonishment. Why you have lovers, and Naruto-kun? Hinata asks, worried. Naruto nods. I do. But I always have room for more, you know. He says with a wink, causing Hinata to develop a massive blush. I have too. Both are very strong and beautiful women. And that's what I desire. Strong and beautiful women. Women who make men bow to them. Hinata ponders his words while Sasuke nods. Suddenly, the doors open and in walk the Junin sensei. A spiky-haired man with a face mask and an eye covered by his Hittite speaks up. Team 7, meet me on the roof. He shunshuns away. Team 7 stands. While Sasuke and Hinata head to the door, Naruto watches them and smirks. They look at Naruto in confusion. Sasuke speaks up. You coming, Naruto? Naruto chuckles. Turning, he swipes the air with a claw and opens a gateway. Stepping inside, the gateway closes, leaving the other genin and the Junin stunned. Stepping out of the gateway, Naruto finds the spiky-haired Junin wide-eyed at the display. Hokage-sama told me to pick them up on time so that I'll see something interesting. He even threatened to demote me. I guess he had a point. So this is Naruto. That's an interesting ability you have, Naruto. He says. Naruto chuckles. I'm an interesting guy, gray head. He narrows his eye. I prefer silver. Naruto snorts. Whatever. The door opens to reveal Hinata and Sasuke. Naruto. What kind of power was that? Sasuke asks. Naruto shrugs. It's a beast thing. Kakashi is suspicious of this. We weren't told anything about Naruto that explained his changes. I guess I'll have to find out for myself. Clapping twice, Kakashi gets their attention. Well, now that we're all gathered, how about we start with introduction? I'll go first. My name is Hatake Kakashi. I like having good quality reading material. I dislike traitors and those who abandon their teammates. My hobby is reading. My dream, to lead a team that doesn't make the same mistakes I did. Sasuke and Hinata are trying to understand what he means. Sasuke is wondering why teammates mean so much to him. Although Naruto doesn't really care. You first, Hyuga. Hinata steps forward. My name is Hyuga Hinata. I like cinnamon buns, flowers, books, and my family. I dislike stereotypes and people who judge others prematurely. My hobby is reading, flower pressing, and training. My dream is to unite the branch and main families of the Hyuga clan and to have a large family of my own with the man I love. Kakashi nods. A good introduction. You next, Uchiha. Hinata steps back while Sasuke steps forward. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I like my family and my village. I dislike traitors and those who selfishly hurt others to gain more power for themselves. My hobbies are spending time with friends and family, reading, and training. My dream is to have a large family of my own and help my brother lead our clan. Kakashi, Hinata, and Naruto smile at Sasuke's introduction. A very good introduction, Sasuke. I'm sure you will become one of the greatest Uchihas to ever live. Next up, the redhead. Naruto smirks. Wise ass. Kakashi I smiles. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like fighting and spending time with my lovers. I hate the people who tried to kill me for something I had no control over. My hobbies are the same as my likes. My dream is to rebuild the home of my family. Kakashi narrows his eyes at Naruto. What could he mean? I can understand hating the people who tried to kill him as a kid, but what does he mean by rebuilding the home of his family? He clears his throat. A good introduction from the three of you. Now, on to other business. You three aren't officially genin yet. He gauges the expressions of the team. None of them are surprised. Well, Sasuke and Hinata come from a shinobi clan, so I guess their families explained it to them. But Naruto grew up in the forest of death. He shouldn't know about the teamwork test, so why isn't he surprised? You three have one more test before you're officially a team. But a friendly warning. You have a 1 in 3 chance of passing. We meet at training ground 7 at 9 a.m. Don't be late. And also, don't eat. You'll get sick. Kakashi then leaves via Shunshin. Naruto speaks up as the team starts to leave. Don't listen to him. Eat a proper breakfast because you'll need your energy. Hinata and Sasuke look at Naruto in confusion. Sasuke speaks up. But sensei told us not to eat. Naruto chuckles. Come on. You're a shinobi, aren't you? What shinobi in their right mind would not eat breakfast? We depend on energy to survive. He said that to trick us. Don't believe him. Naruto turns and opens up a gate with his claw. Stepping inside, the gate closes, leaving his teammates to ponder his words. The next day, Sasuke and Hinata are talking while waiting at training ground 7. Suddenly, a gate opens in front of them and Naruto steps through. Sasuke and Hinata still aren't used to that. He takes a look at them and then grins, revealing his sharp fangs. I see you both took my advice seriously. Good. Sasuke and Hinata smile and nod. Suddenly, Kakashi appears in a shunshin across the training ground from them. He is holding 2 bentos. Opening them, he lets the aroma of the freshly cooked meat waft towards them. None of them react. Kakashi narrows his eyes. None of you followed my instructions to not eat, he says in a commanding tone. Naruto smirks. What kind of shinobi skips their breakfast? One eye. That sounds stupid. Kakashi doesn't answer. He sighs after a moment. Your task is to take these 2 bells from me. You each need a bell to pass this test. You will have 3 hours to do so, he says, pointing to 2 bells hanging from his hip. Sasuke and Hinata look at one another in confusion while Naruto smirks. Sasuke then asks, but sensei, there's only 2 bells there. Kakashi chuckles. Exactly. Whoever doesn't have a bell will be sent back to the academy. Hinata gasps and covers her mouth in shock while Sasuke grits his teeth and clenches his fists, narrowing his eyes at Kakashi. It's 9 o'clock right now. Come at me with the intent to kill. You all have 3 hours. Go. Sasuke and Hinata scatter, hiding in the trees while Naruto simply stands in place, grinning at Kakashi. Kakashi eyes Naruto as well, strangely uncomfortable at the newly minted genin. Aren't you going to hide, Naruto? Or are you going to attack me head-on foolishly? Naruto chuckles. Discarding his trench coat, he cracks his neck and flexes his claws. Naruto says, the intent to kill, That's the foolish idea. I won't come at you with the intent to kill, One Eye. Kakashi narrows his eyes at Naruto, sweating slightly. And why is that, Naruto? He asks. Naruto looks directly at him. Because you won't survive if I did. He disappears in blinding speed as Kakashi's eye widens. He leaps out the way just in time to dodge a powerful punch that shatters the ground where he was standing. Kakashi realizes that he can't take Naruto lightly. That punch was just as powerful as Tsunade-sama's. He thinks. He raises his Hittite, revealing a 3-tomo Sharingan. Sasuke sees this. If he has a Sharingan, he must have had it transplanted. Did he steal it? Sasuke asks himself, activating his own Sharingan, a fully matured one as well, to watch the fight. Ooh, the Sharingan. Before we continue, care to explain how you got your hands on that? Naruto asks, yanking his hand out of the ground. Kakashi answers. A close friend and teammate. During the Third Great Shinobi War, he was dying and gave me his one good eye. I carry it now as if he was battling with me. Naruto nods. A good answer. Your friend would be proud. Kakashi chuckles. Thanks. Surprisingly wise words coming from you. Naruto smirks and then disappears again. Kakashi dodges the attack as it barely misses his head, but Naruto is on him. He doesn't let up as he throws a flurry of strikes, not using his full speed but keeping Kakashi on the backpedal. Shit. What is this speed? I can't counter and I can barely dodge. Kakashi slightly loses his balance amid the vicious combinations and Naruto sends a punch to his chest. Kakashi barely gets his arms up to block it. The impact makes Kakashi's arm go numb and he skids backwards. Kakashi pants as the Sharingan continues to eat away at his chakra. He sees Naruto smirking and grits his teeth. Flashing through hand seals, he shouts, Kaden, great fireball jutsu. Kakashi fires a massive fireball at Naruto. Naruto simply grins and swipes the fireball with his claw, slicing it and dissipating the jutsu. Kakashi's eyes widen. Is that the best you can do, One Eye? I'm not impressed. Kakashi grits his teeth beneath his mask. In the trees spectating the battle, Hinata and Sasuke are in awe of Naruto's power. They both knew Naruto was strong, but they can't believe that their classmate is toying with their Junin sensei. Naruto's claw begins to glow a deep red. He slashes, sending powerful energy waves towards Kakashi at frightening speed. He barely dodges, though a slash catches his leg, injuring him. He looks on as the attack tears through the forest behind him. His leg is hurting. He decides to retreat into the forest to buy some time. Naruto laughs. Running like a coward, Kakashi. How disappointing. But you forget. The forest is my home. You are my prey, Kakashi. I will hunt you. And I will find you. Kakashi hears this and shudders. He attempts to treat his injured leg. He applies a light medical ninjutsu with the small amount of knowledge he has on the art. He says to himself, shit. It still hurts, but it's not as bad now. I gotta think of something to take him down though. Kakashi's sweat drops. Wow. I gotta make a plan to take down a genin. A genin. Granted, Naruto is much stronger than any genin he's ever met. Still, the principle is there. Naruto, on the other hand, is excited. He gets to hunt something different this time. His teammates appear behind him. Naruto. Wait up. Let's make a plan. Sasuke says, walking over to him. Naruto turns. Not right now. Stay out of this. Naruto disappears. As Kakashi continues to try to make a plan, he feels the tree behind him give way. Turning around, he sees Naruto crouched where the rest of the tree used to be. There you are, Sensei. Done playing hide and seek. Scared, Kakashi jumps, trying to get some breathing room. Naruto unleashes a powerful energy slash with his claw that levels some more of the forest. Kakashi barely dodges, but the falling trees became a problem. He tries to dodge as many as he can, but a tree falls on him, pinning his right arm. The pain is unbearable, but he doesn't scream. He can't give his position away. He hides his chakra, trying to buy time to free himself and get away. Suddenly, he hears a cruel chuckle behind him. Well, this isn't the way I like to catch my prey. Kakashi turns his head to find Naruto crouched on the fallen tree behind him looking down at him, those damned fangs glinting with the sadistic smile on his face and his red mane blowing in the wind. I'll make this simple. Give me the bells and pass us and I'll let you go. I'll even free your arm. Don't comply and you'll lose that arm. And I'll be the one to take it. Kakashi scowls at Naruto. Keep looking at me like that and you'll lose that face of yours, sensei. Kakashi sighs and relents. He reaches down and grabs the bells, tossing them to Naruto. He smirks. Thanks, bud. He reaches over and grabs the trunk of the fallen tree that pinned Kakashi's arm. He lifts it up and tosses it, all in a fluid one-handed motion. Naruto chuckles. Guess we're officially genin, huh Kakashi? Kakashi still maintains that scowl. Tell the rest of your team to meet me at the Hokage's office tomorrow at 8 a.m. Naruto smirks and makes a gate. He heads back to see his teammates and tell them the news. Kakashi grimaces at the pain he's in. He heads directly to the Hokage's office. Oh, he knows the rest of the Junin are gonna give him a whole lot of shit for this. As Naruto steps out of the gate in front of Sasuke and Hinata, he tosses each of them a bell. Congrats. We pass. One Eye wants to meet us in the Hokage's office at 8 in the morning. Sasuke looks at Hinata. Naruto, while I'm happy we passed, don't you think we should have done this as a team? He says. I'm not doubting your power, it just seems like you were doubting us. Naruto sighs. Damn, he's such a good kid. Too bad I'm gonna be your new stepdad soon, Sasuke. I didn't mean for it to seem that way. My beast instincts kicked in and I was enjoying the hunt. I'll work with you both more as a team, I promise, but you're gonna need to bear with me. I'm as much of a beast as I am a human. Sasuke and Hinata smile and nod. Alright, I'll see you two tomorrow. Sasuke says as he leaves in a shunshin. As Naruto turns to leave, Hinata stops him. Anyo, Naruto-kun. He stops and turns. Would you like to get something to eat with me? Naruto smiles. Sure. Hinata-chan. How about barbecue? Hinata smiles and nods. The pair then walk off the training field, heading to a local restaurant to celebrate their newly minted genin status. The door to the Hokage's office slams open and all the Junin turn to find an angry, panting Kakashi looking worse for wear. What the? Hokage-sama. Iruka, the perpetual Chunin, is outraged at Kakashi's audacity. Kakashi, even though you may be a Junin, you're still obligated to show the Hokage. Shut the up, Iruka. I think I deserve an explanation. Why is Naruto so damn strong, Hokage-sama? Kakashi demands. The other Junin are confused. Why was Kakashi so angry that he barged into the Hokage's office making demands like this? The Hokage simply smirks. I apologize, Kakashi. All I know is that the past 9 years he spent inside the forest of death weren't wasted. He's very powerful, easily stronger than I was in my prime. He's terrifying and he's not above eating people. He's a monster, a powerful monster. The other Junin are horrified at the Hokage's answer. Kakashi even more so. Then why is he still alive? He actually became a demon, Hokage-sama. If the Kyuubi took control of Naruto's body we should. Junin Kakashi. You misunderstand me. Kakashi halts himself. Naruto isn't the Kyuubi incarnate. It's simply a result of the environment he grew up in. The forest of death is a mysterious place and being inside of it, living the way he has changed him. His body, his powers, his personality, it's all changed. Now, I understand that you are very apprehensive when it comes to Naruto, so I have decided to remove you as their Junin sensei. I will assign someone much more suited to the role. Hokage-sama, that's unnecessary. I swear Hiruzen unleashes some of his killing intent to silence Kakashi. He also sends shivers of fear down the spines of the other Junin in the room, except for one. My decision is final, Kakashi. Naruto injured you and humiliated you. I mean that as a fact, not an insult. Therefore, I've assigned someone who is bound to get along with him much better. Step forward. Hokage motions to someone in the crowd of Junin in the room. They part, revealing one Uchiha Itachi. Itachi. Kakashi says. Itachi turns and nods at him. Itachi is the most powerful shinobi in the village aside from Naruto. He's already surpassed me. Kakashi, I want you to understand that it isn't that I don't trust you to fulfill your duties as a Junin sensei, I'm doing this for your safety. If Naruto feels you're slighting him in some way, I doubt he'll hesitate to tear you limb from limb. Kakashi's eye widens. Anko, who was attending the Junin meeting, smirks at the thought of her beloved beast monarch tearing the Cyclops Junin apart. Judging from the state you're in, I'm assuming that Team 7 passes. Kakashi sighs and nods. Yes, Hokage-sama. They did, except Naruto is the one who beat me and took the bells. He fought me alone, denying the help of his teammates. One of his attacks leveled a portion of the forest, causing a tree to land on my arm and pinning me in place. He threatened me by saying if I didn't give him the bells, he would take that arm. I have no doubt he would have gone through with it. Kakashi turns to Itachi. He's strong, Itachi. Frighteningly strong. The Hokage chuckles. It's not surprising. If he so desired, Naruto could kill me and take the hat without much trouble. The Junin begin to murmur amongst themselves. The Hokage's admittance to such a thing is unprecedented. One of the Junin speaks up. Dad, you can't be serious. Naruto is only 16 years old. Even if he is a Jinchuriki, he can't be that strong. Hiruzen narrows his eyes at his son, Asuma. I'm completely serious, Asuma. Naruto is very powerful. Kakashi's current condition is proof of that. Kakashi is a borderline S-rank nin and he couldn't touch Naruto. Even I don't know the full extent of his power. It's quite frightening. The Junin widen their eyes. The god of shinobi is afraid of a child. He's fast enough to escape my eyes if he so wishes. And his physical strength is unmatched. Hiruzen sighs. He continues. What I am about to reveal to you all shall never leave this room, understand? The Junin all nod. The knight Danzo and his root Anbu were killed as a knight we all remember, correct? They all nod. The report wasn't entirely true. What me and the squad of Anbu with me found was horrific. Danzo and his root were seemingly mauled by a beast. Claw marks, bodies torn apart, faces eaten off. What I suspect is that Naruto was the one who did it. The Junin all gasp and murmur. Kakashi speaks up. But Hokage-sama, the root were a subdivision of elite Anbu operatives, all of them at least Junin level, and Danzo himself was a cage level shinobi. He could even compete with you. Hiruzen nods. That's exactly my point. There were signs of a battle. The root unleashed their own attacks against Naruto, but he somehow came out unscathed. He hunted them, slaughtered them. He finished off Danzo before he could unleash the explosive seals we found on his body and allowed us to find his treacheries. Danzo's body also had several Sharingan eyes implanted on an arm belonging to the Shodai Hokage, Senju Hashirama, and his right eye was a Mangekyo. I had wondered where Danzo had gotten so many Sharingan eyes, but apparently he had his root follow several Uchihas on missions outside of the village and had them collect their eyes. He then proceeded to kill Shisui Uchiha himself and stole his eyes, making it appear that Shisui had committed suicide. Hiruzen takes a drag from his pipe. Despite this, Naruto defeated Danzo with little to no effort 2 years ago. He is not only powerful, he is cunning. And I have reason to believe he did it to save the Uchiha clan. Kakashi is puzzled by that conclusion. Why do you say that, Hokage-sama? Hiruzen takes a puff of his pipe. Naruto knows things that even Junin aren't privy to. How he knows them, I am unsure. But he does. One of those things were the proposed massacre of the Uchiha clan. The Junin gasp. Hokage-sama, what are you talking about? Kakashi says. Itachi speaks up this time. The Uchiha clan was at one point planning a coup, something that Danzo had been inciting. They felt that Konoha has treated them unjustly and planned to overthrow the Hokage and take control of Konoha, undoubtedly plunging the village into civil war. This would leave Konoha vulnerable to rival villages and ultimately lead to the destruction of the leaf. I was to be the one to stop them. If Naruto is the one to have stopped me, then I am eternally in his debt. Kakashi is stunned. At the same time he is confused. Hokage-sama, why would he have done such a thing to save the Uchiha clan, though? Hiruzen takes another puff of his pipe before answering. Naruto wasn't treated kindly before he was left in the forest of death to die. He was beaten, kicked out of stores, fed rotten and molded food, and hated for something beyond his control. That's why he treasures the shinobi clans. Even the civilian-born shinobi have treated him badly, some even taking part in his beatings. This causes some of the Junin to scowl at the actions of their fellow shinobi. How could anyone amongst their ranks not see the difference between a warden and their charge? The clans tried to have adopt him and give him a good life because to them, he is a savior. He holds the Kyuubi. But because of Danzo and his meddling, he prevented that. His goal was to capture Naruto and turn him into a weapon. The Junin grow furious at those words. That bastard! A beautiful black-haired Junin with red eyes exclaims. One of the people who showed him extreme kindness as a child was my mother, Makoto. She hated his treatment, and even though we Uchihas aren't the kindest of people, we never minded seeing him around the compound. The Junin nod in understanding. Hiruzen himself chuckles a bit at the statement. So that's why Naruto saved the Uchihas? Because they showed him a little bit of kindness? Kakashi asked in unbelief. Hiruzen nods. See, Naruto often claims semblance to a beast. When a beast is shown hatred or dealt harm, it remembers that and will always pay it back in kind. But when shown love and care, it will always remember that and show loyalty, protecting those ones to the death. Given his feral nature, Naruto is a beast in more ways than one. He's a beast in the bed, too. Enko smirks. So, how did the other teams perform? Hiruzen asks. To no one's surprise, teams 1 to 6 all failed to grasp the meaning of the test. Team 8 passes. The black-haired beauty, Yuhi Kurenai states. She continues, Haruno Sakura displayed extremely high intelligence and immediately grasped the purpose of this test. She formulated an effective strategy and helped rally her teammates to pass the test. Aburame Shino displayed a solid foundation for a shinobi. He is also extremely intelligent and displayed the ability to adjust his own strategies in the heat of combat. Inuzuka Kiba on the other hand has a severe alpha male complex and attacked me head-on. After being soundly defeated, he yelled obscenities at me and I put him under a powerful genjutsu as punishment. After the test, he was extremely flirtatious with Sakura and myself. I put him under another powerful genjutsu as punishment. If he doesn't improve his personality, I will suggest that he be removed from the shinobi program. Hiruzen nods. Inuzuka Sume, on the other hand, lowers her head in shame. She's disappointed in her son's behavior, as she raised him to respect women. She lets out a sigh. Team 10 passes. Their teamwork is flawless and I have no doubt that they are the next Inoshika Cho. Sarutobi Asuma announces with a smirk, proud of the potential his team possesses. Hiruzen nods. Kakashi, go get your arm checked out. Kakashi nods and shunshuns to the hospital. Hiruzen looks at the rest of the Junin. Good work. I expect great things out of this year's crop of genin. Missions start tomorrow. Dismissed. The Junin all file out except for Itachi. He looks at Hiruzen. You knew this would happen to Kakashi. Hiruzen shakes his head. I didn't know for sure. I suspected it but I didn't know for certain. Itachi nods and Hiruzen sighs. Train Hinata and Sasuke well, Itachi. I have no doubt that you and Naruto will get along. But I trust you with them, Itachi. As the next Hokage, you'll need a good genin team. I believe I've given you the best you could find. Itachi nods. Hiruzen leans back in his seat and takes another drag of his pipe. He smirks. How is your wife, Itachi? Itachi smiles fondly, uncharacteristic of the usual stoic demeanor he carries. Izumi-chan is quite well, Hokage-sama. That's good. And little Itsui? Hiruzen asks. Itachi maintains his warm smile. He's also well, Hokage-sama. He is healthy and quite the curious one. His first birthday is quickly approaching, Hokage-sama. I would like to invite you to celebrate with us. Hiruzen nods with a smile. Of course I'll come, Itachi. I'm very happy for you and your family. The Uchiha clan is enjoying a much-deserved time of peace. Itachi agrees. Indeed. I shall go and prepare to meet Team 7, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen nods and Itachi shunsons out of the Hokage's office. Little did they know, but outside of the Hokage's office, a little birdie heard the entire meeting. I see. That's an interesting development. Naruto finishes listening to the bird's report on the Junin meeting. After his meal with Hinata, they both went in opposite directions after having enjoyed each other's company. Naruto admits that Hinata is an absolutely wonderful woman. As he walks down the main street of Konoha, he ignores the stares he is receiving, jealousy from the men and lust from the women. He suddenly picks up the scent of someone who interests him. He lets a feral grin adorn his face as she comes into view. Walking down through the commerce district of Konoha, Sum ponders what she can do to break Kiba out of his ridiculous alpha male complex. Where did I go wrong with that boy? She asks herself. I take it you mean Kiba. She's startled as she hears a voice behind her. She yelps and turns around quickly. Her eyes land on Naruto, who is laughing at her response. She blushes in embarrassment. That's not funny, pup. I was thinking and you surprised me. Sum shouts. Naruto gathers himself and smiles at Sum warmly, making her heart flutter. Gosh, he's so handsome. My instincts keep screaming at me to take him as my alpha. But he's the same age as that stupid son of mine. Unbeknownst to her, Naruto notices the blush on her face and can already guess the internal dilemma she's facing inside her head. He grinds and moves in closer to her. Sum-chan, are you okay? He cups her chin and raises her face level to his own, staring deeply into her eyes and making Sum go even crazier. Hi. I'm fine. Sum is lost in Naruto's bright violet eyes. Naruto grins again. You know, Sum-chan. I've always found you to be one of the most beautiful women in this village. Sum's heart skips a beat and she turns away. What are you saying, pup? Sum's mind trails off as she remembers her past marriage to the father of her children. He ran away in fear of her, which left her scarred and insecure, aware that she was very unladylike. How could you be attracted to a bitch like me? I'm wild and unkempt, unlike other women. Hell, I admit that I even smell like an animal, pup. You're wasting your time. I appreciate the compliment, Naruto, but you're better off finding another woman, a real woman, someone better than me. See you around, pup. She starts to walk off, but Naruto grabs her hand and stops her. Sum turns and looks at Naruto, who has a serious look on his face. His eyes and expression is hard and he looks directly into her own eyes. How could you say something like that, Sum-chan? You are a real woman, a great woman. What could make you think anything different? Sum grits her teeth. Naruto's words make her very happy, but he doesn't know the truth. She needs to tell him. Letting out a sigh, she responds. Come with me to the clan compound. We can talk there. Naruto nods and follows her. He takes note that the main house is completely empty. Naruto knows that Sum's daughter, Hana, is a highly regarded veterinarian in the village and is most likely at her job. He concludes that Kiba is likely with his team training. Entering into the main house, Sum gestures to the sitting area. Make yourself at home, pup. I'll grab some drinks. Naruto smiles and nods, watching the sway in her hips as she walks away. After a few moments, Sum returns with 2 glasses of iced tea and sits one down in front of Naruto. She seats herself across from him. Sum takes notice that Naruto is eyeing her with a familiar lust-filled gaze. Sum enjoys the attention of the feral-looking man but sighs, convinced that it would never happen between them. Listen, pup. The reason why Hana and Kiba don't have a father is all my fault. Naruto's interest piques at this. We were married at one time. But it was an arranged marriage. I never liked his attitude. He was brash, arrogant, believing that women should be subservient to men. I had enough and beat him up for it. After that, we kept fighting, physically and verbally. Eventually, he had enough and left. Not just the clan but Konoha completely. He let me know, of course, that I'm not a real woman, and real women don't look, act, and smell like me. Around the time Kiba was 6, I received word that some Konoha hunter nin had killed him. During Tsume's recount of the story, Naruto listened intently, never letting a single detail slip by. Tsume noticed this and smiled slightly at how great of a listener Naruto is. You see, pup, I appreciate your feelings and all, but I'm not someone you need to be chasing. You can find yourself a good woman, someone younger and more beautiful than an old bitch like me. Naruto notices her clench her fists at the last part. I'm not worth your attention, Naruto-kun. It just won't. Tsume's eyes widen as Naruto claims her lips. In his mind, Tsume was everything he wanted in a woman. Strong, independent, honest, and loyal, among everything else he likes about her. To hear her criticize herself and call herself an old bitch pissed off Naruto and hurt him. He would have none of it. Leaning further into the kiss, Naruto wraps his arms around her waist and pulls her in. Tsume tenses and tries to resist the searing hot kiss but eventually loses the will to fight. She wraps her arms around Naruto's neck and pulls him on top of her. She closes her eyes as their tongues dance and entwine with one another. After a few more moments of kissing, Naruto pulls back and looks deeply into her eyes. Tsume-chan, you are a woman. You're a beautiful woman. That man is just too stupid to see how fortunate he was to have you at his side. Naruto's voice was more of a husky growl that only served to turn Tsume on even more. Despite her lust for the new beast monarch, she could hear the honesty in his voice. Naruto takes a breath before continuing. I want you, Tsume-chan. Tsume's eyes widen at this. Become my woman, Tsume-chan. You deserve a good man, a real man. He leans down and huskily growls into her ear. A beast of a man. Tsume shudders at Naruto's dominant aura. The kiss, his scent, his physique, everything about Naruto had turned on the Inuzuka clan head so much that she became vividly aware of the fact that her arousal had leaked through her panties and began soaking her pants. Naruto, being blessed with the senses of a predator, had also been aware of Tsume's arousal and pushed her further. He grabs Tsume aggressively and pulls her closer to him, showing off his sharp fangs with a feral grin. Give me an answer, Tsume-chan. You can continuing living a lonely life. He leans in and nips gently at the flesh of her neck, eliciting an aroused moan from the Inuzuka matriarch. Naruto leans back, looking her in her eyes, which are heavy with passion and lust. Or you can become my mate. Naruto accentuates his message by giving the older woman a passionate lick along her chin, jawline, and cheek, savoring the taste of her skin and the salt of her sweat. Tsume moans once more, feeling her legs give way beneath her. She clutches onto his clothing to keep her balance. Looking up into his eyes, she lets out a sigh at the dominant male. Her breath is heavy with desire. She manages to form two words that come out as a trembling whimper. Take me. Naruto's feral grin turns utterly bestial. He lets out a growl and lifts Tsume into his arms in a bridal carry. The woman lets out a surprised squeal and melts into his embrace as he carries her into her bedroom, finding it with his powerful nose. Naruto carries her inside and lays her on the bed without throwing her or hurting her. He begins to undress and Tsume's eyes widen at his extremely powerful and muscular physique. Her eyes widen even further at the massive bulge in his pants. He grins at the woman's reaction. He chuckles a bit, getting her attention. Naruto, now topless, leans down and claims Tsume's lips. The kiss is sloppy and passionate, their tongues fighting for dominance. Tsume lays back on her bed as the alpha male climbs on top of her. He shreds her top with his razor-sharp claws, revealing her gorgeous D-cup S. He licks his lips hungrily as he sees the beautiful mother's womanly mounds. He claims one of her nipples with his mouth, causing Tsume to moan in pleasure. He nips and bites her nipples, making the woman's love juices flood out. Naruto grips the woman's crotch, amplifying her pleasure. He fondles her through her clothing. Sume writhes and claws her bed in ecstasy. She can't fight it, she can't hold back. With a loud cry, her vagina clenches and throbs as she orgasms at the mere touch of the man she's fallen for. Her squirt soaks her pants and leaks through them. She bucks her hips and her legs shiver as the powerful orgasm rips through her body, destroying her senses and turning her vision white. As her orgasm settles, she gasps and pants, her tongue hanging out her mouth and her eyes heavily lidded. Naruto chuckles as he surveys his handiwork, proud that he conquered the beautiful woman in front of him. Naruto stands up and pulls off his pants, revealing the monster inside of them. Sume's eyes widen at the massive length and girth of his member. This man will break her and she knows it. He gives the woman his signature feral grin. You ready for this, Inuheim? Sume gulps but nods. Naruto reaches for her pants and shreds them with his claws. He licks his lips at her moist womanhood, her scent flooding the room. Naruto resists the urge to mount her and pound her until she breaks. Instead, he chooses to enjoy this woman and give her the ultimate pleasure. Spreading her legs, Naruto dives into the woman's folds, lapping and devouring her juices and savoring her flavor. Sume moans and tears at her sheets. Quote exclamation mark. MMMNNH. Naruto-sama. She bites her lips so hard, she draws blood. Naruto enjoys eating the Inuzuka matriarch out. Her flavor and scent drive him to the point of nearly losing reason. Naruto finds Sume nearly perfect. Enko may have competition for alpha female. Sume's hips buck once more. She floods Naruto's mouth with an eruption of her juices. Naruto happily drinks them. Sume is near unconscious. She's never orgasmed so hard in her life, let alone twice in a row. She's never, ever squirted before. With what consciousness she has remaining, she looks Naruto in his eyes. His eyes are as full of passion and lust as hers. It makes her happy that such a demigod has so much desire for her. She'll happily give herself to him whenever he wants her. Naruto positions his tip at her entrance. Sume swallows and grips his muscular arms. She moans loudly as he pushes his way inside her. Naruto growls as he feels her womanly folds wrap themselves around him. He pushes deeper, eventually bottoming her out. Sume's expression contorts into a silent scream. She momentarily loses consciousness as Naruto's massive member buries itself inside of her. Naruto leans down and claims her mouth. He begins pounding away at her womanhood. The feral couple fill the room with slapping and moaning, the air becomes heavy with the musk of their mating. Sume loses consciousness several times as she experiences orgasm after orgasm. Her bedsheets are ruined, several tears riddle them and they are soaked with bodily fluids from both Naruto and Sume. The bestial pair continue mating for several hours, and Sume's stomach bulges slightly from the amount of seed Naruto releases inside of her. Because of Sume's brain being flooded with ecstasy, she fails to sense someone enter into her house. Naruto, however, smirks at recognizing who it is. I'm home, a voice says. Naruto hears but Sume is out of it, squirting all over his. Kiba hears moaning coming from upstairs, thanks to his powerful hearing. He also picks up a strange scent. He rushes upstairs, the sounds of grunting, moaning, and slapping growing louder, the musky scent growing stronger. The trail leads him to his mother's room. Opening the door, Kiba's eyes widen in horror. His mother, the strongest woman he knows, is being conquered by her classmate, the boy who embarrassed him and humiliated him in front of his mate. His temper snapping, Kiba bursts through the doorway and charges at Naruto as he pounds his mother from behind. Naruto reaches out his hand and grasps him with his telekinesis. He pins Kiba to a wall with the invisible force. Kiba is immobilized as Naruto goes back to work on subjugating his mother. Kiba is forced to watch as Naruto destroys the Inuzuka matriarch, his massive length gouging deep inside her, his mother's tongue rolled out of her mouth, her throating screams and moans, the rippling of her with every thrust. Tears begin to roll down Kiba's face as he watches his classmate his mother into the mattress. He's confronted by waves of complicated emotions, ranging from anger, hatred, sadness, regret, and arousal. He feels a slight bulge in his pants as he begins to feel aroused at the sight before him. To make matters worse, Naruto decides to break Kiba mentally. He cracks a grin, showing off his fangs. He grabs the Inuzuka mother by her hair and pulls, eliciting another moan of ecstasy. Nay, Sum-chan, tell your son how you're feeling right now. Sum, intoxicated with her high, moans out, Hua. Naruto pounds into her furiously, making her cry out in pleasure even harder. Her smacks her juicy, causing the woman to squeal in pain and pleasure. Pay attention, woman, your son is watching. Sum turns and sees her son pinned to the wall by an unknown force. She smiles weakly at him. Sorry, Kiba-kun, but this man is mommy's new alpha. Kiba's eyes widen at his mother's words. Mom, no, snap out of it. This isn't you. Naruto grunts and pounds into the Inuzuka matriarch even hard, the slapping sounds intensifying and Sum's moans growing louder. Kiba growls, you bastard. Let my mother go. Naruto laughs loudly. Ha 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 ha. Oh, I love this. I get to your beautiful mother and put you in your place at the same time. This is great. His thrusts increase in frequency as he nears his orgasm. He turns and looks Kiba in his eyes. Hey Kiba, I hope you take care of your new brother or sister. 'Cause I'm about to nut in your mother. Kiba's eyes widen. Stop it. No. Leave my mother alone. No. Naruto roars and spills his seed in the Inuzuka matriarch again, causing her to cry out as her orgasm rips through her again. She loses strength in her arm and falls to the mattress limp. Kiba watches in horror as the scene plays out. Sum faints. Naruto chuckles at the sight of his handiwork. He pulls out, causing his cum to pour out of Sum's snatch. He's amused at the sight of the broken form of the Inuzuka matriarch. Face buried in her pillows, high in the air just begging for his. He gives the mature woman one last smack on her, causing her to jump instinctively. That was a good, babe, he tells the unconscious Sum. He turns toward Kiba, his massive dangling. He walks over to him shamelessly. With his grin showing his fangs, he says, guess I'm the real alpha now, huh boy. He releases his telekinesis and Kiba falls to the floor limply, not even having the will to fight anymore. Naruto chuckles. Who knows, I might break your sister next. No harm in keeping it in the family, right boy? Naruto gives Kiba a condescending pat on his head, walking out of the room. Naruto's laugh haunts Kiba as he makes his way to the kitchen, shamelessly and not caring if anyone sees. Kiba simply stares at the broken form of his mother. Her eyes rolled back in her head, her tongue fall out of her mouth and on the bed, forming a stain of drool. Naruto's seed continues to leak out of her, staining the bed. Kiba's tears continue to fall. He feels that it's his fault this happened to his mother. He feels the anger towards Naruto for doing this to her, sadness at seeing his mother in this pathetic state, as a contempt for his classmate, and guilt. Guilt that he had become aroused at watching it. Guilt at the pathetic nub in his pants. Guilt at the sticky stain in his trousers.